Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet.
Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Crime drama on this Thursday with Dragnet, The Lives of Harry Lime, Inner Sanctum Mysteries, John Dehner and Have Gun Will Travel, and The Adventures of Jungle Jim. That's all straight ahead on this Thursday, the 11th day of January, and we have 355 days remaining until we get to 2025. Yes, I know, we're all sitting here, all excited about being in 2024. Now we're already looking to 2025. 1861 on this date, Alabama seceded from the United States. In 1863, the Battle of Arkansas Post, General John McClernand and Admiral David Dixon Porter captured the Arkansas River for the Union. Of course, in Kansas, it's Arkansas. 1902, Popular Mechanics magazine published for the first time. 1908, Grand Canyon National Monument created. In 1922, the first use of insulin to treat diabetes in a human patient. 1935, Amelia Earhart, the first woman to fly solo from Hawaii to California. 1942, Japan declared war on the Netherlands and invaded the Netherlands East Indies. In 1942, the Japanese captured Kuala Lumpur. And in 1949, the first reported case of snowfall in Los Angeles. Yeah. 1963, the Whiskey A Go-Go nightclub in Los Angeles, the first disco in America, was opened. In 1964, Surgeon General Luther Leonidas Terry reported smoking may be hazardous to your health.
It is the judgment of the committee that cigarette smoking contributes substantially to mortality from certain specific diseases and to the overall death rate.
Now, that was the first such statement from U.S. government in 1964 on this date, but as far back as May 31st, 1955, Edward R. Murrow's See It Now program talked of the hazards of smoking. In 1973, the beginning of the Watergate burglars trial. In 1992, Paul Simon, the first major artist to tour South Africa after the end of the cultural boycott. In 1993, Apple premiered the first personal digital assistant, the Newton.
What is Newton? Newton is digital. Newton is personal. Newton is magic. Newton is as powerful as a computer. Newton is as simple as a piece of paper. Newton is intelligent. Newton learns about you, understands you. Newton is news. Newton can receive a page. It sends faxes and soon electronic mail. Newton lets you communicate with the whole world, and if there's anything this world could use, it is more communication.
The Newton would not live up to its hype and would go out of production 5 years later. Ironically, the Newton gave a lot of credence and that and other personal digital assistants for what would eventually become the iPhone and, the smartphones that we carry in our pockets every day. The WB television network began operations on this date in 1995. In 2001, the Federal Trade Commission approved the merger of AOL and Time Warner to form AOL Time Warner. In 2003, Illinois Governor George H. Ryan announced the decision to grant clemency to all inmates of death row. Passing away on this date in history, Francis Scott Key, lawyer, but most importantly, the author of the Star-Spangled Banner. Actor Jack Sue, born on this date. Aviator Pappy Boyington. Also, David Nelson, the oldest son of Ozzie and Harriet. And Anita Ekberg. Born on this date in history, First Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton. Actor Lionel Stander. Auto designer Carroll Shelby. TV executive Grant Ticker. Actor Rod Taylor, and Naomi Judd, who passed away in 2022 at the age of 76.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Lee Ritenour, great jazz musician, 72 today. From In Living Color and Living Single, Kim Coles is 62. Singer Mary J. Blige is 53. Actress Amanda Peet is 52. And from How to Get Away with Murder and Emily Owens, M.D., Aja Naomi King is 39. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 11th day of January as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
From 71 years ago, January 11th, 1953, Jack Webb starring in Dragnet, The Big Small. That's coming up next on this Thursday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But first...
Do you know how old the school building in your community is? If it's over 25 years old, the chances are that it's woefully inadequate. Join with the groups in your community working for better school conditions. Remember, better schools build a stronger America.
Thank you for listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite podcast app. Now we go back 71 years to January 11th, 1953, Jack Webb in Dragnet.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery detail. A check forger has been hitting the merchants in your city. From the M.O. she uses, you know she's an expert. You've got a description. Your job, get her. There's only one premium quality cigarette in America, available in both regular and king size, and that is Chesterfield.
Premium quality in a cigarette means the world's best tobaccos, the best ingredients, the best cigarette paper. Only Chesterfield gives you this premium quality in both popular sizes.
King size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king size cigarette. That's certainly important to every king-size smoker. Of course, it's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. There is absolutely no difference, except that king-size Chesterfield is larger, contains so much more of these premium quality tobaccos that you get more than a fifth longer smoke from king-size Chesterfield.
Yes, the modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality, both regular and king size.
And either way you like them, Chesterfields are much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, February 6th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of forgery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Welsh. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the forgery office, and it was 10:22 a.m. when I got to the mudroom.
I'm sure about it, officer. If I ever see that woman again, I'll know her. Don't you have any doubt about it? I'll know her.
Yes, ma'am. Now, if you'll just look through this book, please. Have you seen anyone who might be the woman, Miss Parkinson?
No, not yet, Sergeant, but if she's got her picture in here, I'll find it for you. Never forget that face. So sweet and kindly. Sort of reminded me of my mother, rest her soul. I think that's why I cashed the check for her. I never would have done it if there hadn't been something like that.
Yes, ma'am. I wonder if you'd mind running over it again for us. Might have been something you forgot, maybe?
Oh, no. I wouldn't forget anything about her, but I can tell you about it if you'd like.
All right, fine, Miss Parkinson. If you just start at the beginning again.
Fine. Would you mind calling me Ethel? I don't much care for formality. Feel better when people call me by my given name.
Yes, ma'am. If you go right ahead, please.
Well, this morning's when I found out about it. Like, keeled right over when the check came back from the bank. Opened up the other mail, mostly from people who want to sell me things for the store, and there it was. Letter from the bank with a check inside. Stapled to one of those forms, you know, the kind they just check with a pencil.
Uh-huh.
Well, like I said, there it was. Place that was checked said the account was unknown. Well, you can just bet I got on the phone and called the bank people.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
I told them they'd made some sort of mistake, that they'd better set it right. I was so sure that she wouldn't do a thing like this. Well, you know how banks are. They said they'd check it for me, and I waited on the phone while they did. And they said it wasn't any mistake. Well, you can just bet that I was hopping mad.
Yeah, well, what kind of identification did the woman use to get you to cash the check?
Well, she had several letters from her son. At least that's who she said they were from. I just bet she hasn't even got a son. And, sir, I'll bet she hasn't.
Well, do you usually cash checks with that little identification?
No, I don't, as a rule. Usually ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. Figure that if a person's got one of those, that means that he's working. Figures that the check is good.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's not always true, you know, ma'am.
Don't I know it now? You just bet I do. Last time I'll cash a check for anyone that I haven't known for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Had you seen this woman around your store before this time?
I've been trying to think about that. The shop isn't very big, but we do a pretty good business. Sometimes there are several people waiting. Get in a hurry, you know, when you aren't sure who you talk to.
Yes, ma'am.
Seems to me I've seen her in the store before, but when I stop and really think about it, I'm not too sure. You know how that is?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
When you boil it right down, I don't think I have seen her before. She just had one of those faces that you figure sure you know. Looked like such a lovely person.
I see. About how old do you figure she was, ma'am?
Well, like I said, I guess about 62, maybe a little older.
Uh-huh.
Might have been 65. Not much over that, though. Such pretty hair. Pure white, had it fixed in a real soft wave over her forehead. Old-fashioned kind of. Wore it in a bun, you know.
Ma'am?
Bun. Had the hair all rolled up and then pinned up back. Here. Back of her neck.
And it was white, you say? The hair was white?
Yes. Looks so nice to see a woman act and look her age. So many of them try to look younger, you know.
Yes, ma'am. How about her clothes?
Oh, she was well-dressed. Had a sort of teal blue suit on, a black coat. Looked kind of like it might have been cashmere. Looked real nice. Little string gloves and all.
You say she was a small woman, is that right?
Yes, she was little. Stood real straight, you know, shoulders back. But she was a little one, not more than 5'1" or maybe 2.
Mm-hmm. Would she be slight or heavy?
Beg pardon?
Well, how much would you say she weighed?
Maybe 100 pounds. Say she wasn't much heavier than that. No, sir, 100 pounds.
Was there anything unusual about her, anything that might make her stand out?
No, I don't think so, except maybe it was the perfume.
Ma'am?
Perfume, you know, how you kind of expect a little old lady to wear something kind of mild, like violet, maybe. Something light.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, she had a real heavy perfume on, smelled kind of like a French scent. Real heavy, like I said. It was one thing I couldn't figure out.
What's that, ma'am?
Well, she did have nice clothes and all, but all in all, she didn't look like she had a lot of money. Just moderate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that perfume must have been expensive. Must have cost a lot.
Well, I guess she's making enough to afford it, ma'am. 10:34 a.m. Mrs. Parkinson continued to look through the mug books. She was unable to identify the woman who had passed the bad check. The merchants of the city had been victimized for the past 3 weeks by a forger. All of them described her as a kindly old lady using letters from her son in the East as identification. Frank and I had run the description we'd gotten through R&I with no result. The stats office had made several runs on the M.O., and all leads furnished by them had been checked out, but they led us nowhere. We'd obtained copies of the forged checks, and they'd been processed by Don Meyer in handwriting, but he'd been unable to offer us any new information. The names on each of the checks were different. We checked each of them out, but the leads went nowhere. All of the stores in the central area had been alerted. Descriptions had been distributed to the neighborhood merchants, but the check passing continued. We checked with our informants, but they failed to come up with any information. 2 weeks passed. The woman hit 12 more times. Her take was estimated to be over $2,500. The checks she passed were always for the same amount, $50. When it seemed necessary, she would purchase merchandise in order to cash the check. The articles she chose were in a price range so that the store owner would often cash the check rather than lose the sale. Thursday, February 21st, 8:34 a.m. Frank and I got back to the office. I'll get it. Forgery, Friday. Yeah. All right, where? How soon? All right. No, we'll see you there. What is it?
Harry Allenson.
Informant?
Yeah, says he wants to see us right away.
Yeah.
Says he knows the woman we're looking for. The working detective knows that he's usually only as good as his informants. Quite often, when all other means of bringing a case to a successful conclusion have failed, the only thing that'll break it is information supplied by an informant. A detective will protect his informant. For as long as the informant can operate, the detective is assured of a steady flow of information. 9:45 a.m. Frank and I drove over to the coffee shop at the corner of Crawford and Spring Streets. Harry Allenson wasn't there when we arrived. We sat down and ordered a cup of coffee.
Oh, that's good and hot.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, pass the sugar, will you, Joe?
Yeah. There you go.
Thanks.
Wonder where Allenson is.
What time did he say he'd be here?
9:45.
Well, it's only a couple of minutes after that now. He'll be here. Wonder how right his story is. What did he tell you on the phone? Nothing, just that he knew what we were looking for. Said if we'd meet him here, he'd fill us in. Here he is.
Oh, yeah. Righty, Smith.
Harry? Sit down.
Yeah. Sorry I'm late. Got hung up in traffic.
Oh, you got a car now, Harry?
No, missed my streetcar. Had to wait for another. Say, you guys had breakfast yet?
Yeah, we did a little earlier.
You mind if I have something to eat?
No, go ahead.
There's a waitress.
Well, she was here a minute ago. I don't see her now.
I'll go get her myself. Sure you guys don't want anything to eat?
No, thanks just the same, Harry.
Okay, be right back.
Well, here we go again, Joe. Yep. Last time we met him, his meal cost $2.50. How much dough you got on you? Oh, I got a couple of bucks. How are you fixed? Well, not much better. Let's hope he doesn't order too much, though.
How about some more coffee for you guys?
No, thanks, Harry.
Chow will be up in a minute.
All right, how about this information, Harry, about the paper hanger?
Oh, yeah. Funny the way I got it.
That right?
Yeah, I was up in Jack's bar last night. You know, just having a beer, shooting the breeze. All of a sudden, this old girl comes into the place. Kind of set everybody back on their heels. It looks so nice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, she slides up on one of the stools and orders a drink. Even Jack was taken in. Changed his apron and all. Anyway, she climbs up on the stool and orders some sherry. Made a big thing of it.
How do you mean?
Well, Jack started to pour some of it for her, and she stopped him. Said that she wanted California sherry. Said she didn't want any of that imported stuff. Said her family was one of the first ones in the state and that she believed in using homegrown products. She was kind of cute about it. Real little woman perched up on that stool. Looked a little like a cartoon. You know, the ones with the little old lady guzzling martini.
Yeah.
Oh, say, hold on a minute, will you? My food's ready. Be right back.
Okay, Harry. How do you like that guy? It takes him 5 hours to get a point on. Well, there's nothing you can do about it, Frank. He's got to tell it his way. Well, I suppose so.
Nothing like a big breakfast. I always say if you stoke up in the morning, you got it made for the day.
Yeah, that's right, Harry.
Farm breakfast, they call this. Tell you, that's easy. Oh, look at that sausage. Fried real good. I like it when it's like a rock. Can't stand pork that hasn't been cooked enough.
Yeah. You want to go on with the story?
Oh, yeah. Don't mind if I eat, do you? Got a big day today. A lot of things to do.
No, you go right ahead, Harry.
All right. Well, like I said, this old broad ordered the sherry. Well, time went on. She must have had 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
A couple other guys came in, and I moved over to make room for them. Ended up sitting right next to the woman. Say, pass the ketchup, will you?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Eggs aren't much good without a lot of ketchup. Gives them real flavor.
Yeah. Harry, could you get the point maybe a little sooner?
Oh, well, first off, I noticed this perfume this broad's wearing. Well, now I tell you, it's been a long time since I smelled anything like that. Real heavy. Like the stuff they sell in France.
Yeah.
Didn't fit the woman. No, sir, didn't seem to go with the rest of her. I tried to strike up a conversation, you know, talked about the weather, stuff like that, but she wouldn't have none of it. She didn't actually tell me, but I could tell the way she answered me, you know, kind of cool.
What makes you think she might be the one we're looking for?
The way she looked, the way she worked.
What do you mean, the way she worked?
Well, I'm getting to it. Anyway, after she's had the sherry, she reached into her purse to pay for it. Fumbles around in it for a while. Well, I couldn't help seeing what was in it, you know, what was sitting right next to her and all.
Yeah, sure.
Well, she don't come up with any money. Then she starts going through her pockets. Still can't find any money. Finally, she asked Jack.
Who's that, the bartender?
Yeah, Jack. He owns the place. She asked him if he'll cash a check.
Yeah.
Well, now I ask you. Either one of you guys know Jack?
No, I don't think we do, Harry.
No, I don't.
Well, Jack wouldn't cash a check for the treasurer of the country. Not even if he had the president to vouch for him. Been stung too many times.
Yeah.
Well, this old gal gets to him, see? I can see him start to go. He kind of hems and haws around all the time. He's trying to figure out a nice way to say no to her.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, he just ups and says it. Well, right after he kind of waits and expects her to tell him off for being so mean to somebody like her, but she doesn't. Just kind of hunches her shoulders and then starts digging in her purse again. Takes everything out, puts it on the bar. Now, it happens that her driver's license is lying right there on the bar in front of me. Couldn't help but read it, you know.
Yeah, we know.
Well, I saw her name. And I asked her if she'd let me buy the wine for it.
Mm-hmm. What'd she say to that?
Well, when I called her by name, she acted kind of startled, like she didn't expect it. And then she kind of smiled and said she was financially embarrassed at the moment. Something about coming away from the house without any money. But she said she thought it'd be very sweet of me if I'd take care of the tab. So I paid Jack the money, and then I asked her if she'd like another one. She said she didn't think so. And then she got all her stuff together and put it back into her purse and thanks me. Then she got up and left.
Yeah, well... What was the name on the driver's license? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Got it written down here someplace. After she left, Jack and me got to talking about her, and then it hit me that she might be the one you're looking for. So I jotted down the name.
You ever see this woman before, Harry?
No, never laid eyes on her before she walked into Jack's last night.
Now, here it is.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's the name at the top of the paper. Right under, that's her address.
The name on the piece of paper was Lillian Halstead. It was a new name in the case. It gave an address out near Bel Air. Frank and I called the name into R&I, but they had no record on anyone answering that description. We paid the check and thanked Harry Allenson for the information, and then we drove out to the address. It was a large house just off Sunset Boulevard. Mrs. Halstead wasn't in, but the maid told us that we'd find her husband at the Halstead School of Dramatic Arts. She gave us the address, and Frank and I drove out to the school. It was located in a large modern building out on Wilshire Boulevard. When we got there, Mr. Halstead was working with the advanced class in the drama section. We took a seat at the rear of the auditorium and waited for him to finish.
You gentlemen wish to see me?
Yes, sir. You're Mr. Halstead, are you?
That's correct.
Police officer, sir. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
How do you do?
I do.
What is it that you'd like to see me about?
Well, can you tell us where your wife is, sir?
Lillian?
Yes.
Well, she's out of town. Why? What do you want with her?
I wonder if you could describe her for us.
Well, certainly. I don't understand what this is all about, though.
Well, it's just a routine investigation.
Routine? What's that mean?
Well, just that we're conducting an investigation and a woman with the same name as your wife came up. We're just checking it out. Now, if you could give us a description of your wife, please.
Yes, well, let me see. Lillian's 36. Yes, I would say she's 5 feet 6 1/2 inches. Weighs perhaps 130 pounds.
Mm-hmm. What color's her hair, Mr. Halstead?
Well, before she left, it was sort of an auburn. Lillian said something about dyeing it red. Might have done it since she's been gone.
Where's your wife now?
She's back in Washington. They're holding a drama festival, and she's back there looking it over.
Do you have a picture of your wife here, Mr. Halstead?
Yes, sir. I have one on my desk in the office.
What if we take a look at it?
Why, certainly. You can go out this way.
Fine, thank you.
Here, down this way, please.
Thank you.
You tell me what this investigation is that you're working on.
Well, no, sir, not right now. We can't.
Oh, you can. Cloak and dagger stuff, eh?
No, sir, it's not exactly that.
Oh, here, I'll get the door for you.
Thank you.
Yes, right this way. Excuse me a moment. Oh, here. Here's the picture. Lovely woman. Been a great help here at the school.
Yes, sir. How long ago was this picture taken?
Several months ago, I believe.
Well, Mr. Halstead, how long has your wife been out of town?
Perhaps a week, 10 days, perhaps. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Does your wife drive a car, Mr. Halstead?
Yes, sir, she does. Oh, I understand. The license.
Sir?
Lillian's driver's license. That's what you're here about, isn't it?
Well, I don't understand, sir.
Oh, you don't have to be cagey with me. Lillian lost her driver's license some time ago, asked me to get her a new one. I didn't quite get a chance to do it. You found it. That's it, isn't it?
No, sir, that's not. We think your wife's license has been used as identification by some check forger.
Do you happen to know where your wife might have lost the license?
Why, no, we don't know exactly. It must have been about 3 months ago. She says that she dropped it here at the school, but I've looked all over for it, haven't been able to find it. I think she just left it someplace. She's terribly careless about things like that.
Yes, sir.
Is this about the old woman that's been forging the checks?
Why do you ask that, sir?
Well, that's another thing that I've been meaning to call you about. I was reading the paper one night, and all of a sudden it hit me.
Sir?
Well, I could be wrong, but I think I know the girl who's doing this.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
The modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality in both regular and king size. And we're the only one that does it. We tell you what Chesterfields are made of to give you that premium quality in both popular sizes. Our scientists select the best materials. They select for Chesterfield the world's best tobaccos, blend them just right. And they keep Chesterfields tasty and fresh with the best of moistening agents. Now, here's something else that's completely modern about Chesterfield. People smoke Chesterfield, and we tell you what happens, scientifically but simply.
A medical specialist is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of this group have smoked Chesterfield for an average of over 10 years. After 8 months, the medical specialist reports that he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield?
I'd say that means real mildness. And finally, we ask you to try Chesterfield and prove what we say. Chesterfield is best for you. They're much milder to give you all the pleasure that the modern cigarette can give.
2:37 p.m. We ran the name Bert Halstead through R&I, but we got no make on anyone answering his description. Halstead told us that he thought we might be looking for a girl he identified as Peggy Small. He told us that the Small girl had enrolled in the dramatic school over a year before. We asked him if he had a picture of her that we could have. He told us that he thought there was one in the files. He took us down the hall to the registration office and checked his files. He located a picture of the girl and handed it to Frank.
Just why do you think this might be the girl we're looking for, Mr. Halstead?
Well, it's the oddest thing, officer. Peggy. Oh, that's Miss Small.
Yes, sir.
Well, Peggy came to us about a year ago, as I said. She came out here to the coast from some little town in Idaho, I think it was. I'd have to check her entrance application to be sure, but I think it was Idaho.
Yes, sir.
Well, instantly I knew that this girl had talent, real talent, deep down, talent. Right off the bat, she had the feel. Would have been a fine character actress.
Why do you say would have?
She didn't want to work. Wasn't interested in anything but learning how to be an old woman.
Sir?
All she was interested in was learning to act like a little old woman. Now, we have a theory here at Halstead. Don't act, live. She did just that. Learned the makeup problems, dress, walk, everything. She even used to practice writing like a woman of 60 or so. I used to see her practicing by the hour.
Did she ever give you any reason for all this?
No. I asked her once, but she said that this was the way she wanted it. Now, I thought that she was trying to tell me to keep my nose out of her affairs in a nice way, so I didn't ask her again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have presentations here, you know. Each term, the class presents a play that's been written and produced by the students themselves.
Yes, sir.
Peggy would always do the oldest female part in them. Never was interested in anything else. She had several good offers, but for some reason she did not take them.
What do you mean by that, sir?
Well, one night a talent scout from one of the majors came out to see our play. He was quite... Majors, the studio.
I see.
He was quite impressed with Peggy, offered her a term contract, good money. She'd have done well, but she just was not interested. I just can't understand it.
Well, do you know where she is now?
No, officer, I haven't seen Peggy since she left here. That was about 4 months ago.
Wonder if you could tell us where she lived when she was enrolled here.
Certainly. I have the address on her enrollment card.
Well, that's fine. We'd like to have the names and addresses of any of her close friends, too, if we could.
Oh, certainly glad to help. You think it could be her, Peggy, the woman you're looking for?
Well, it could be, yes, sir.
Odd. Now, I got to thinking about it when I read about it in the papers. Right away, it made me think of Peggy. How she used to talk about acting.
Well, how's that, sir?
Well, she used to always say there was only one reason for doing anything, and that was to come out on it. That was the trouble with most people. They just didn't know where they wanted to end up. But she knew where she was going.
Well, maybe she was right.
I beg your pardon?
She's the one we're looking for, we know, too. "3:12 p.m. We got Peggy Small's address from Mr. Halstead, and then we went back to the office. We ran the name through R&I, but there was no record on the girl. 4:02 p.m. Frank and I drove out to the last known address of the Small girl. It was a boarding house on 92nd Street. Peggy Small wasn't in, but the landlady told us that she usually didn't get back from work until 7 or 7:30. We asked if she knew where the girl worked, but she told us that she didn't. We arranged for a stakeout on the house, and at 4:37 p.m. we checked back into the office. You want to check the book?
Right.
Anything?
Don't think so. There's a call from Faye. Wants to know if I'll be home for dinner. I better give her a call, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Faye's getting a little hacked at me.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. Last 3 nights she's waited dinner for me and I didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, honey. Yeah. Well, I don't know yet. Yeah? I don't think so. I know. Well, maybe another hour or so I'll know. Yeah. Okay, honey. Bye. If I don't make it tonight, she's going to scalp me.
I get it. Forgery Friday. Yes, ma'am.
What's that address again? All right. Yes, ma'am, we'll be right there. Well, your dinner's going to have to wait again.
Why?
Dry goods store out on Main. Forger's there now. In the process of the investigation, the police department had alerted the merchants throughout the city to the method of operation of the woman forger. Thousands of printed circulars had been distributed, bearing her description. An artist's conception of the woman had been published in the daily papers, and the drawing had also been broadcast over the local television stations. The clerk in the store we'd gotten the call from had noticed a similarity between a woman waiting to cash a check and the description. From the information we'd gotten on the hot shot, the woman was waiting for an authorization for the check. When Frank and I got to the store, we met a small elderly woman. She produced identification in the form of a driver's license bearing the name Lillian Halstead. Frank and I asked her to go with us to the city hall for questioning. A policewoman was called, and the interrogation started. One look at her, and you could see that she was covered with a heavy makeup.
I want you gentlemen to know that I resent the implication you're making. The idea of trying to make me out a vicious criminal.
Ma'am, we're not trying to embarrass you. We just want to get to the truth here.
I'm giving you that. I'm telling you what you want to know.
All right, now let's get it over with. What's your name?
Lillian Halstead.
Is this your driver's license?
Yes, it is.
Then the thumbprint on it should be yours, too. Is that right?
I'd imagine so, yes.
Well, then suppose we go down the hall and take your fingerprints and compare it, huh?
You look here, young man. I know my rights. You're not dealing with some little schoolgirl this time. I've lived a long time, and I know just exactly what you can do and what you can't do. I know, for instance, that you can't take my fingerprints unless you want to arrest me for something. If you want to make a fool out of yourself to that extent, then you go right ahead and do it. And mark this well, young man. I'll sue you for every nickel you own. I'll let the papers know about this. They'd love to know how you treat old women. They'd just love to know.
You ever been mistreated in any way, ma'am?
No, and I don't intend to be.
There's a man on the way down here, ma'am, the name of Halstead. Wife's name is Lillian Halstead. That driver's license we found in your purse, the one you claim is yours, that's registered to his wife. He's coming down here to tell us that you weren't his wife, that you stole that license, that you were a student in his dramatic school. Now, why don't you save us all a lot of trouble here? Why don't you admit that you're the woman we're looking for, that you're Peggy Small, you're no old woman? Come on, how about it, Miss Small?
All right, I lose. Guess I should have known. Mind if I take this wig off? It's kind of warm in here.
We've been kind of waiting for it. Go right ahead.
It was a good rack while it lasted. Crummy driver's license. I was doing all right as long as I used the letters. They should have been good enough for me. I should have known.
What'd you do with the money?
I've got it all, every last nickel of it. I almost had enough, too.
Enough for what?
Leave this lousy town, get out of here, go back east, New York. A couple more pieces of paper and I'd had it made. Could have left. Almost showed him good.
Ma'am?
Phony town. Months I pounded on doors, talking to agents, casting directors, talking to anybody who'd listen to me, trying to get a job, trying to get a break in pictures. None of them would talk to me. Wouldn't even see me. This phony town.
Yes, ma'am.
They wanted character women. Didn't want any young women, character women. That's what they wanted. Well, I got to be the best of them. They didn't want me the way I am. I didn't want to work any other way, none. Had you fooled, didn't I? Had the whole town fooled. All of them. Phony place. I was going back east, back to New York. They know talent back there. They recognize it. They know whether you're real there or whether you're just a phony. They know it there.
Yes, ma'am. We know it here, too.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 19th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, only the modern cigarette, Chesterfield, gives you this scientific evidence on the effects of smoking. No adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfields. And only the modern cigarette, Chesterfield, gives you premium quality in both regular and king size. Now, I know Chesterfield is best for me and best for you. Buy 'em, regular or king size. Either way, they're much milder to give you all the pleasure the modern cigarette can give.
Peggy Janice Small was tried and convicted of forgery, 10 counts. She was sentenced to the California Institution for Women at Corona, California, for the term prescribed by law. Forgery is punishable by imprisonment for a period of from 1 to 14 years in the state penitentiary. just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, June Whitley, Jack Crucian, Gene Tatum. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Either way you like them, regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.
January 11th, 1953, Jack Webb and Dragnet here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll do crime and drama again tomorrow with an episode of Rocky Fortune starring Frank Sinatra, an episode of Out of the Deep, also the story of Dr. Kildare, Broadway is My Beat, and we'll wrap it up with an episode of Fibber, McGee, and Molly. That's coming up on our Friday episode of the show here. Right now, we're going to have Orson Welles and the Lives of Harry Lime. That's up next.
When you look over your morning mail, there's one thing you can be sure of. The bills always seem to arrive right on time. How do they do it? Ever notice that businessmen use zip code? How about you? Use zip code on all your mail and keep the good news moving fast, too. Don't tie up the mail. Use zip code.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, an episode of The Lives of Harry Lime, the prequel to The Third Man, starring Orson Welles. This was originally broadcast 72 years ago, January 11th, 1952, The Hand of Glory.
Presenting Orson Welles as The Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime. The fabulous stories of the immortal character, originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
Yes, that was me, Harry Lime, making my way through a side alley in Paris. Were you ever in such a hurry you didn't even know you'd been hit? I was hit, all right, hit for the sake of a chunk of gold. But where the gold was by then, I didn't know and I didn't care. All I wanted was to lay low somewhere, and that's how it happened that I found myself in one of those sleepy English villages where the cows chew their cuds all day in the meadows, nothing ever happened. Or so I thought. Do you believe in witchcrafts? Well, I didn't. Till then. Takes a lot to convince me of anything. In this case, it needed the death of two people in that sleepy English village. Prove me wrong.
Now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the third man, in The Hand of Glory.
I wanted to get away from gold and away from France. On the boat for the Channel crossing, all I cared for was being quiet. Very, very quiet. I guess I looked like just another bum. I was pretty seedy, you know, and my arm was in a sling. I was feeling kind of faint, too, and then I felt someone touch my arm. I saw a girl with wide gray eyes and dark lashes that spilled over her cheeks.
Excuse me. I've been watching you. Are you all right?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm okay, thanks.
Oh, you don't look it. Why don't you go downstairs?
Well, thanks. I like the air.
It's so calm today. You can't be seasick. Is your arm painful? I see you've got it in a sling. Are you sure there's nothing I can get?
No, really, thanks. You're very kind, but I'm all right.
Are you in pain with that arm?
It's not too good, but I'll be okay. Don't you worry about me.
Well, do at least sit down on one of these chairs and let me find a steward and order you a drink. Or some tea. Oh, please, let me do something for you. You really look all in.
I don't know how it was, but I felt better for her being around. After a bit, we were sitting there talking side by side. Seemed we'd known each other for years. I told her how I'd got to go to England on business, how I'd been negotiating a rather tricky bit of business, in fact, and how the anxiety of it had made me exhausted. She was all sympathy.
And when you've got your negotiations through, what you need is a few weeks' real rest. Without any worries, without anybody chasing about after you.
Chasing about after? Oh, yes, yes. Your business associates, you mean?
Life's so full of worries these days for everyone. You ought to come and stay in the village where I live. It's so sleepy and quiet, nothing ever happens there.
It sounds perfect. Well, it just suit me. I've had a really tricky time just lately, and then being run into by a car on top of it all.
You must come and stay with us. My uncles, I was telling you about them. They'd be delighted.
Wouldn't they be a bit surprised? I mean, a stranger arriving?
Oh, they love strangers. And nothing ever surprises Uncle John and Uncle Gregory. It's you'd have the surprise.
Oh, I would?
Well, they're a little odd. A couple of old dears, but a bit eccentric.
Oh, yeah? Tell me about them. Tell me about your home.
Oh, there's nothing to tell. The village is all apple blossom and nightingales at this time of the year. And our house is on the hill. It's very old. My uncles have lived in it since they retired.
Well, what did they do before they retired?
They were scientists. And now they still spend all their time in a laboratory they've built at the top of the house. All day they go up there. And at night, too.
Well, it must be pretty dull for you.
Yes. I get very lonely sometimes.
Do you? What's your name?
Helen. Helen Carew.
A pretty name. Suit a pretty face.
Thank you. Then you'll come and stay?
All right. Yes. Thank you. I'll come. It was half a joke, but she gave me the address and told me to turn up whenever I liked. Seemed a bit stuck on me. I found it flattering. A week or two later, I fetched up at that little village, Fallowmere, it was called. Lay in the heart of the fen country. I got to the station, there was a message from Helen saying the car had broken down. She'd be along in a quarter of an hour, so I whaled away the time, going into the local for a pint. The place was empty. Landlord and I got talking. Now, this is what I call a typical old English village. Folks in America come miles to see a place like this.
It's well enough, but I'd get out if I saw the opportunity.
Well, you would? Why? Too sleepy for you?
Maybe.
Have one on me.
Oh, thanks.
Maybe you're one of those up-and-coming chaps who like town life, is that right?
No, I'm a countryman. But I'm looking out for somewhere else. My wife feels the same about Fallowmere.
Oh, does she? Well, I know I'd stop here to the end of my days if I had the chance.
And we're not the only ones who are making plans to go. This place doesn't bring luck to anyone.
Oh, but it brings visitors in the summer. Swarms of them.
You're wrong there, sir.
Oh?
Dead wrong. They won't come.
Why? What's the matter with the place?
That's what we'd all like to know.
I don't get you.
Maybe it's as well you don't.
What is it you're driving at?
Folks aren't lucky around this way, that's all.
Lucky? What do you mean?
Well, I'm not saying it's anything really, but the crops rot, the cattle ail, the pigs get sick, and a man's discouraged before he's begun.
Sounds pretty queer to me.
It is pretty queer. And I can tell you something even queerer.
Okay, tell me.
It's the children. Every now and again, one of them begins to go, pining away. That's all you can call it. A child gets hollow-cheeked and pale, and in a couple of months, it's all over, and no one can tell why.
Oh. Sounds very strange to me. And I was told it was a village where nothing ever happens.
Well, sir, you've come to stay here. Let's hope you find it that way.
I didn't take much notice of the landlord. I saw Helen standing in the doorway in a cool summer frock with the sunshine behind her. I forgot everything he'd said. She drove me back along the green lanes till we came to the house, and there, under a cedar tree on the lawn, were the two old uncles. They got on their Panama hats, and tea was set on a silver tray on a table in front of them.
Ah, the stranger. How do you do, sir? How do you do?
Helen Stranger, you're most welcome here. Very welcome indeed.
Well, I'm grateful to you for inviting me here, Mr. Carew.
Myself, Gregory. My brother, John.
Everyone calls my uncles Mr. Gregory and Mr. John, so you must do the same.
Helen, give the stranger some tea.
Mr. Lime, Uncle John.
Strangers are very welcome here. Very welcome. Sometimes we go for weeks, months, without a stranger coming here.
And never yet two strangers. Helen told us how you'd met on the ship. We said she should ask you here straight away.
Helen said you wanted to get away from life.
That's what she said, to get away from life. Well, stay as long as you wish, young man, as long as you wish.
That's very nice of you, I'm sure.
Not kind at all. Now, if you will excuse me, we have some work to do. We don't allow more than half an hour for tea each day.
We shall have the pleasure of seeing you at dinner.
No, thank you, sir.
Don't thank me. You've nothing to thank me for.
Nothing to thank either of us for. Au revoir.
Yeah, your uncles. I had no idea they still worked.
They're going to the laboratory. I told you how they spend all their time in it. No one ever goes into it but them.
Not even to clean it?
They clean it themselves. Oh, please try and understand about them. I'm sorry they were so strange with you.
Well, they were very nice and welcoming. You said they were scientists, both of them?
Yes, they're twins, you see. They've always done everything together. And now they've got a kind of obsession. I think I ought to explain about it.
Obsession? What do you mean? What sort of obsession?
Well, they think of nothing but gold. They want to find out how to make it.
A lot of other folks like to find out the same thing.
With my uncles, it's become a kind of sacred trust. They're determined to find out the secret of how to make gold before they die.
Are they? Oh, they'll have to be pretty quick about it, won't they?
Oh, they're very hale and hearty. I expect they'll start talking about gold tonight at dinner. So now that I've told you, if they do, you'll be ready to talk about it too, won't you?
Oh, of course. Sure. Don't worry. I'm always ready to talk about gold.
The transmuting of base metals into noble ones, Mr. Stranger.
With the touch of the philosopher's stone, a man could transmute base metal into 1,000,000 times as much gold.
Alchemy, isn't that what it's called?
It has been called alchemy for many hundreds of years. No one has found the secret yet.
The power to know all is what we need.
Don't you see, young man, what is wrong with the world today? Mankind is killing himself in the search for gold.
Greed, striving, anger, leading to war, starvation, and famine.
Find gold, find the key to what you're seeking, and your wars are gone.
The world has prosperity and happiness.
Gold pours forth over the world, and all excuse for bitterness is gone.
I can see your point. It's certainly a pity no one can find out how to make it. Never been done yet, even in a small way, has it?
It will be done. We shall do it.
If not we, those who come after us. We are leaving our great fortune to the foundation.
Oh, yes, the foundation?
The foundation of a college for young scientists for research into the making of gold.
But what sort of things go into making of this gold?
Things we must keep a secret, Mr. Stranger. More wine?
He will take no more wine. Then shall we join Helen in the other room?
Oh, of course, but, I find this search of yours for gold terribly intriguing. I'd like to know some more about it.
Who would not like to know more?
And no one has ever found the secret?
Not yet, but it will certainly be found.
It will be found when my brother and I have the power to know all.
Well, old man, when you get the power, let me in on it.
Orson Welles returns in just a moment as the third man. now, Orson Welles as the third man continues with The Hand of Glory.
They were, to put it mildly, an odd couple, those two old gentlemen with their velvet smoking jackets. After dinner each night, they'd go off to their laboratory. Helen and I were left on our own. I felt sorry for her. She seemed wistful, and those big gray eyes of hers really melted me, but sometimes I had an idea she was sizing me up. She used to get me to talk about my business affairs. In a couple of weeks, I'd build up quite a big office and a whole firm around myself. I got to know everyone in it, down to the lowest of the clerks. That was all very well. But what interested me was this laboratory, the search for gold. One night after I'd heard the uncles going up to bed, I decided to have a look at things myself. Crept into the laboratory through the window. It was an airless summer night. Behind me, I could hear a nightingale singing in the garden. It was the place. Strange jumble of globes and bottles filled with queer bright liquids. One was red like blood. There were little crucibles and jars labeled, and by the light of a torch I saw there were books around the walls. Sulfur, mercury, nitric acid, arsenic, crystal. And this file's labeled pigeon's blood. What can they want that for? There's a little figure made of wax. Mandragora, cinquefoil, do they need that for making gold? I began to wonder, I began to think. I looked at the wax figure, and I saw that it was the figure of a child. And then gradually, I knew it wasn't only alchemy the old men practiced in that laboratory. It was witchcraft. I reached out for one of the books, began to read. Make an image in his name, whom you would hurt or kill, a virgin you wax, the person whose death you desire, the dust of a dead man. To make the hand of glory, let the hand of a murdered stranger be cut from him, and the hair of a stranger that is hanged, placed within it as a wick. Let it burn through the night, and you shall have the power to know all. If ever the hair rose on my head, it did at that moment. Someone laughed, but no one was in the room. No one had opened the door. Then I looked again and saw the old man, Gregory Carew.
Perhaps I've startled you. You did not expect me.
Well, I saw the window open from my room. I knew you had things you valued here, and so I climbed up to shut it.
Quite very thoughtful.
And then I got interested, in the books.
Old books. Worth noting. Pray do not let me interrupt you.
Well, these books do have an extraordinary fascination.
A great fascination. Let me see. What is it you are reading?
Something about a hand.
The hand of glory, yes. A hanged man and a murdered man. One would be fortunate to obtain both the items required simultaneously.
Yes, most fortunate.
One would have to be willing to wait a long time, stranger.
Yes.
How sweetly the nightingale sings.
Yes.
And now we will close up the laboratory and go back, each to our own room. Let me thank you again for your solicitude. I will show you down the staircase to your room, stranger.
He came behind me in the darkness, moving softly. All the time I could hear him still behind me. But at my door he said good night politely, and without another word he left me. I sat for a long time thinking. But all the same, I didn't particularly care for it when the old man still called me stranger. All next day, I thought about Gregory Carew and his brother. I knew it wasn't a dream. I knew they were mad, stark staring mad. Obviously, they'd stop at nothing in their search for the secret of making gold. Something warned me to get away. Then there was Helen. Couldn't leave her. So I told her I wanted her to come away with me, and she said she'd do it, and we decided to go next day. I had no idea where I'd take her, but I couldn't leave without her. That afternoon, I saw the uncles walking up the drive. Someone was with them. A tramp, an old, tattered-looking figure who hobbled along between them. They came near. I stayed hidden behind the arbor.
You shall stay with us here, my man, until you're stronger.
Oh, you're very kind of me, sir. You shall sleep in the attic. We'll make you up a bed, plenty of warm blankets, and a soft mattress. Oh, you gentlemen have saved me. I was done. I'd walked on and on. Not as young as I was.
Oh, you must have a hot meal. We'll send to the kitchen for it.
No. Better still, you go along and ask for it. Say Mr. Carew sent you.
First turning on the right, second on the left by the kitchen garden.
Get your meal, then we'll show you the attic. I don't know how to thank you, gentlemen, for this.
That's all right. A good night's rest and you'll be a different fellow tomorrow. Now, go along now. Take it easy and don't hurry yourself.
Right. The old tramp went hobbling up toward the kitchen. I felt there was good in Helen's uncles after all. They came and sat on the other side of the arbor.
Well, John?
Well, Gregory.
We've waited a long time.
But now we need wait no longer. Two strangers under the same roof.
When shall it be? Tonight?
As well as any other night.
He'll sleep in the attic. We'll give him a drug, and he'll sleep very soundly.
Very soundly.
We'll hang him before midnight.
And the other?
Oh, he shall be first. A knife in his back. First the stranger, then the tramp. It'll all be easy to explain when the police come.
What did we best say?
The tramp murdered the stranger and hanged himself out of remorse.
The hand of glory. At last. So simple, so easy.
A knife in the back and a man hanged. And for us, the power to know all.
So that was it. I'd found out the role for which I was being cast. Very nice. If you go for that sort of thing. That night, I didn't go to bed. I hid behind the curtains of the big window in my room. Outside, the nightingale was still singing. The moon shone brightly. I waited, and just before midnight, the handle of my door began to turn.
Quietly. It's dark in here.
The bed is there, in the shadow.
Have you the knife?
I have it here.
You have done it. And no sound.
The bed is empty. The stranger's gone.
Gone? You have betrayed us. I know, but now I see it all. You were afraid. You warned him.
Liar, it's you who have hidden him for your own purposes, your own ends.
No, you were afraid.
Liar. You know the secret, would you? You take the gold from me, your own brother. Where is the stranger?
I don't know. I tell you, I don't know. Let me go. Let me go. I tell you, I don't know where he is.
Liar. You have done this to me, your own brother. My own brother has done this to me.
Let me go, Gregory. I raise the house.
You will not raise the house.
Give me that knife. Give me that knife.
No, you shall pay for what you've done. Take that and that.
It was all over quickly. There was John Carew on the floor in the moonlight with a knife in his back. Brother Gregory was gone. But where was the tramp? I rushed up the stairs and found him snoring in his blankets. Gregory Carew was nowhere to be seen. I ran back, roused the servants, went to the laboratory. The laboratory was empty. But in one corner, something swung backwards and forwards from a beam. We went up to the thing that hung there. Gregory Carew. A murdered man and a hanged man. The brothers got their wish, all right. The things they wanted for the hand of glory. The only trouble was they went around to collect. Then came the police. And in deference to Helen, there was as little fuss as possible. The facts were too obvious. I stayed on a day or two. Wondering what I ought to do about it, but she solved the problem herself.
I've come to tell you about the will. It's been found in the laboratory.
Oh, yeah?
It's only a few lines. My Uncle Gregory must have written it just before he died. It's changed.
Changed? In what way, Helen?
He's left his whole fortune to me.
Well, then, it means you'll be rich.
Mm-hmm.
Very rich, Helen. Well, when shall we leave this place?
I'm not leaving now. I'm staying here. I don't need your money now. I've got my own.
My money, but... Helen, old girl, I haven't got any money.
Haven't you? What about your office and the staff and your business interests?
Well, to tell you the truth...
Oh, yes, Harry. I always felt they were too good to be true. He was so very fond of them all. Well, perhaps if they don't exist, it's just as well I shan't need them now.
But look here, Helen, aren't you coming away with me then?
Not me. Yes, it does seem I'm lucky, doesn't it? Of the four of us, I'm the only one who's got the gold, after all.
Harry Lime returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
Oh, yes. In this age of radar, jet propulsion, television, and atomic energy, there's still room for witchcraft. They don't go for broomsticks anymore, but there's lots of witches. They don't bother with black cats. They settle for mink. Take Helen, for example. Now, there was a real witch. Oh, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, old Harry's been telling us a ghost story. Well, sure I have. Why not? After all, there are such things as ghosts. And also, there are such things as beautiful girls. But it's silly to believe in either of them.
"72 years ago, Orson Welles, The Lives of Harry Lime," here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A reminder to visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Your support means more than ever right now at classicradio.stream. Up next, Inner Sanctum Mysteries and The Voice on the Wire.
Hello there, this is Jim Amici. You know, a single tree can make 1,000,000 matches, but it takes only a single match to destroy 1,000,000 trees. So be careful with matches. Make sure your match or cook fire is dead out every time. Remember, only you can prevent forest fires.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues now with an episode of Inner Sanctum Mysteries. This goes back 80 years to January 11th, 1944. The Voice on the Wire.
Colgate Tooth Powder presents Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host, Raymond, inviting you in through the squeaking door. Well, it's so nice of you to come here tonight and help me sit up with the corpse. Hey, such dull company, so cold and stiff, bored with being dead. All the life seems to have gone out of him. What? You say you've seen him before? Oh, no, he's not that horror man who plays in pictures. But he does look like him. So much so, in fact, you might even call him a dead ringer. Tonight's Inner Sanctum Mystery, Voice on the Wire, is an original radio drama by Robert Sloan and stars Miss Leslie Woods in the role of Geraldine Reeves. It's produced under the direction of Hyman Brown.
Use Colgate tooth powder. Keep smiling just right. Use it each morning and use it at night. Don't take a chance with your romance. Use Colgate tooth powder.
Romance. What is romance? Romance is the light on the path of love, but a light so delicate that even a breath may put it out. Even a breath. You'd hate that to happen to you, wouldn't you? Well, don't let a breath of trouble ruin your romance. Don't let unpleasing breath offend the one you love. I tell you what, brush your teeth night and morning and before every date with Colgate tooth powder. Because scientific tests have definitely proved that in 7 cases out of 10, Colgate tooth powder instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth. And let me add, Colgate tooth powder is the only tooth powder that offers proof of this fact. And then, too, Colgate tooth powder cleans your teeth beautifully. No amount of money can buy you a dentifrice that will clean your teeth more quickly and thoroughly. Remember the name Colgate tooth powder, with the accent on powder.
Don't take a chance with your romance. Use Colgate tooth powder.
No doubt the telephone is an ingenious invention, but as far as I know, no one as yet has been able to commit murder over it, although many people have wanted to. Still, there are worse things you can get on the phone than the wrong number, especially if you happen to call the voice on the wire. On a long, narrow island just off the shore of one of our larger lakes, Mrs. Geraldine Reeves, widow of the late composer David Reeves, lives alone in a gaunt, gray shingled house. Only a few hundred yards away are the charred remains of her former home where David was burned to death in a fire just 2 years ago. It's after dinner now, and as the clock in the hall strikes 8...
You've got to get hold of yourself, Geraldine.
I can't help it, Doctor. You see, it starts every night about this time.
What starts?
The music. David's last composition. I hear it being played on a piano. And the notes seem to come from the old house, the house where David died in the fire.
Well, perhaps someone is playing that piece on the piano. Someone on the island.
No. No, there's only one other house out here, and those people are away. And the dog. The dog keeps howling all night long.
What dog?
I don't know. There's no dog on the island, but David and I did have a dog. You remember? He stayed with David the night of the fire. He died with him because David was too ill to get out of bed. There. There it is again.
It's amazing. That's a real dog. Somewhere on this island.
Oh. Do you think so?
Why, of course. Probably some stray got across the bridge or swam over from the shore.
Well, you see, Oh, excuse me, Doctor.
Certainly.
Hello?
Hello. Mrs. Geraldine Reeves.
Yes, speaking. Who is this?
Listen.
Good heavens.
You have 4 hours to live, Mrs. Reeves. 4 hours to live.
What? What did you say? Hello? Hello?
What's the matter, Geraldine?
The music. The same music. I heard it again.
What?
Over the phone. Someone's playing it on the piano.
It must be some sort of a prank.
No. A man spoke to me. He said I have 4 hours to live.
4 hours to... Here. Let me have the phone.
No, it's no use. He's rung off.
Well, we might be able to trace the call. Hello, operator. Operator.
Somebody's trying to kill me.
Hello, operator. Operator.
What's wrong, Doctor?
I'm afraid the wires have been cut. We'd better get into my car and drive into town right away.
Yes, it isn't safe for me to stay here another minute.
Can't understand it. The motor won't turn over. Somebody must have meddled with this car while we were in the house.
Well, try my car, Doctor.
I think perhaps I'd better. Is it in the garage?
Yes, I'll... Great heavens, it's gone. The garage is empty. The car's been stolen.
Now, let's not lose our heads, Geraldine.
But...
We're not completely cut off yet. We can't use a car. We can still walk.
But it's almost a mile to the bridge, and the road is so dark down along the water.
It won't be too dark with a flashlight. We can go down through the woods to the edge of the water and walk along the shore.
Oh, wait a minute.
What's the matter?
I just remembered. David's brother's driving out here tonight.
Harvey?
Yes, and his wife, Laura. They said they'd be here by 8:30, and if we wait for them, they can take us back in their car. What do you think, Doctor?
That's safer than trying to make it alone. If we wait right here, perhaps we can watch the bridge and see them coming. Heaven's sake, Geraldine. What are you staring at?
The bridge, Doctor. The bridge, look! This end of it's been washed out! Oh, Doctor, this is crazy, searching for a telephone wire in back of the house. If we're seen out here, there's no telling what might happen.
Please, Geraldine. We've got to find out where that wire was cut and splice it together again. It's our only chance of reaching the police.
But it's almost 9 o'clock. We've wasted an hour already. If I'm not out of here by 12...
Stop it, Geraldine. Stop it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. What's that?
It's the dog again. That confounded dog is tied up around here somewhere.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant the light on the road. There's a strange light on the road.
The headlight of a car. Coming this way.
Car?
Yes. Quick. Behind the house and stay out of sight. It's turning into the driveway.
How could a car have come out onto the island with that bridge out?
Shh. They're getting out.
Oh, why, it's Harvey and Laura.
Good heavens.
Oh, Harvey!
Hello?
Harvey! Oh, Harvey.
Pete's sake.
Oh.
Jerry, what are you doing? Playing hide and seek with us back there?
Oh, Harvey, I'm so glad you've come. Jerry, what's the matter? Oh, everything. But first you've got to tell us how you got here.
Why, we just drove over the bridge and on up the road the way we always do.
But how could you drive over the bridge? It's been washed out. What? Well, I saw it with my own eyes, and Dr. Pricing saw it too, didn't you, Doctor?
I certainly did.
Oh, you must be mistaken. We drove over the bridge not more than 2 minutes ago.
Are you sure you haven't been on the island longer than that?
I'm positive. Why?
Well, some very strange things have been happening here tonight. Geraldine's life was threatened. Her car stolen, and mine tampered with.
What?
What are you talking about?
Look, I'll show you. The starter in my car won't even turn the motor over. Here. By George. It's working now.
Say, what is this, Jerry? You and the doctor been taking a few pills? Or did you drink too much wine at dinner?
Oh, no. Everything he said is true. Even the telephone wires have been... I must be going out of my mind. That is my telephone ringing, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Well, aren't you going to answer it?
I'm almost afraid to. Come with me, Harvey, will you, while I do?
Sure.
Hello?
Hello. Mrs. Reeves.
Yes?
Listen. It's 9 o'clock, Mrs. Reeves. You have 3 hours to live.
stand this waiting, this endless waiting. Why don't the police come?
Easy now, Jerry. They'll be here. You only phoned them a few minutes ago.
Something can happen before they get here.
I have a gun ready, just in case anything should happen. And I won't hesitate to use it.
You have a gun, Doctor?
Why, yes. Geraldine gave it to me before you arrived.
Oh.
What's the matter? You trust me with a gun, don't you?
Why, of course.
Laura, what is it?
A face at the window. I just saw a face at the window.
Laura, please, you're letting your imagination run away with you.
No, I saw it right there. It was the face of a dead man.
Quick, Harvey. Out the back way.
Right.
No, please don't leave us.
We'll be right outside the window.
Jerry, I'm afraid. Oh, there's nothing we can do, Laura. They won't be far away. But I don't trust Dr. Prizing. You never should have given him that gun. Why not? Because I think he's a murderer. Laura! Yes. Don't you remember how he acted at the trial? When you were accused of starting the fire that killed David? But he testified against you time and again. Subtly. To make them think you did it. Because he started that fire himself. What on earth are you saying? I'm telling you the truth. During the trial, he swore that he wasn't on the island the night of the fire. But he was. And I can prove it. How? By this cigarette case of his. Here, look at it. You see how it's charred and melted on the side where his initials were? He must have left it in the fire that night, by mistake. But he couldn't have. The police searched everything the next morning. They would have found it in the ashes. Not if it wasn't there. He came back for it that same night, as soon as he missed it, and dragged it out of the fire. He knew it would incriminate him if it were found in his possession, so he threw it into the lake as he drove home over the bridge. And that's where we found it, in the water. The last time we were out here. Oh, Laura, I hope you're wrong. So do I. But if I'm right, we're all in for... Laura! The lights! Somebody's cut off the lights! Laura! Laura, where are you? Carry the door! Going through the door, it's the face I saw! Laura! Laura! It was meant to be me, Harvey. Whoever came through that door intended to kill me.
Jerry, please. How is Laura, Doctor?
I'm afraid I can't do anything for her, Harvey. She's passed on.
Oh. Laura. Laura, darling.
You'd better not touch the body, Harvey.
Oh, leave me alone. You've done enough already, Dr. Prizing.
I beg your pardon?
You'll have a lot of explaining to do when the police arrive, Doctor. I'll tell them how you ran away from me out there before the lights went out, and how you were here in this room when they went on again.
Harvey, don't say things you'll regret later on.
Just a moment. Where is the cigarette case Laura had in her hand when the lights went out?
What cigarette case?
You know the one I mean, Dr. Prizing. The gold one that was charred in the fire.
I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about.
I have. And if you're as innocent as you claim to be, you won't mind being searched.
Not at all. Go right ahead.
I will.
Whom are you calling, Geraldine?
The police. Can't understand why they haven't arrived yet. It's almost 10 o'clock.
Maybe something's happened to them on the way. Maybe their car broke down.
Their car, too?
Huh?
Nothing. Only it seems as if your car is the only one that works when you want it to.
Headquarters.
Oh, Sergeant. Sergeant, I can't understand why your men aren't here yet. A murder's been committed.
Do you think you've been calling the police department all this time, Mrs. Reeves?
David's music.
It's 10 o'clock, Mrs. Reeves. You have 2 more hours.
Jerry, are you in your room?
Yes, Harvey. What is it?
This is our chance, Jerry. We've got to run away from Dr. Prizing now, while we're alone.
Yes, of course, Harvey, but how will we go?
In my car. It's just... Wait a minute. Listen.
What is it?
It sounds like footsteps in the living room. Prizing must be in there.
No, I saw him go outside. He said he wanted to see if he could find the dog.
Well, there's someone in there. I'm going to find out who it is.
Be careful, Harvey. He may be standing just outside the door.
Yeah. All right. You stay behind me.
Is anybody there? Is anybody in the living room?
No. There doesn't seem to be.
Don't overlook me, Harvey.
Oh. Well, Dr. Pricey, you've been standing at this door with your ear to the keyhole?
No, not exactly.
I thought you were supposed to be outside, looking for that dog.
I was outside, for a while. But I saw someone moving around in here, so I came back. When I got here, your wife's body was gone.
What?
Gone? Laura's body is gone?
I assume that it's gone. It's not where it was on the floor.
But how could it... Look here, Pricey. You were alone in this room.
And so were you. After I left. Wasn't it, Geraldine?
Well, yes, now that I think back, he was.
Certainly. What's more, Geraldine saw me leave the house. And when I left, the body was still here. After that, I don't know what happened.
What are you driving at?
Draw your own conclusions. I've drawn mine.
Why, you...
Harvey, stop it! Stop it!
I'm sorry, Jerry. I just...
The dog again.
Yeah. I can't understand why you didn't find that dog, Dr. Pricing. He must be right out there where the old house used to be.
But if you think you can find him, why don't you go? Good heavens, man. Look. There's a fire burning out there.
On the grounds of the old house.
Pricing, you started that fire yourself, and you're burning Laura's body in it to cover up your crime.
Harvey, where are you going?
I'm going to the fire, Jerry. I've got to stop it. I've got to put it out.
I'm going to lose my mind if someone doesn't stop these awful things from happening. Won't anybody help us?
Easy, Geraldine. The man who hopes to kill you was trying to break you down first. It's part of his plan. Here. Take a sip of this brandy. It'll help you.
All right, thank you, Doctor.
What's the matter?
Oh, nothing, really. I just don't care for any brandy just now.
What's wrong with it?
Well, I didn't say anything was wrong with it. I just don't...
You fool. You think I'm trying to poison you?
I don't know what to think.
Here. Give me that brandy. I'll drink it myself. There. Believe me now?
I don't believe anyone.
Listen to me, Geraldine. I'm the best friend you have in the world right now. You've got to understand that. Because there isn't much more time. We've got to get away from Harvey while he's still out there.
What do you mean?
Can't you see? He's trying to kill you.
That's a lie.
It isn't, Geraldine. Harvey's the one that's lied to us. He and Laura both. They intended to kill you when the lights went out. But in the darkness, Harvey made a fatal mistake. He thought it was you he was strangling, not Laura.
I won't believe
It's
that.
the truth. They never drove across that bridge at 9 o'clock tonight. They've been here on the island all evening.
How do you know?
Because we saw that bridge with our own eyes. And I saw it again just 5 minutes ago. It's still down.
You're lying.
Come out and see it for yourself.
You're just trying to get me out of this house.
Stop being such a fool. Here. Take this gun. If it'll give you any security, take it. And hold it in my back while we're out there. But for heaven's sakes, let's get away from Harvey while there's still a chance.
All right. Give me the gun.
Here.
Now you keep in front of me all the time. And I'm warning you. If you make one false move, I'll kill you in cold blood.
You see, Harvey and Laura were lying to us. The bridge is still down.
You're right. They couldn't have come across that bridge.
Of course not. The only trouble is, we can't get back over it now either.
We've got to get away, Doctor, now, before we're seen.
What about that house at the other end of the island?
People are away.
But they might have a boat.
Yes, of course they do have a boat. We can row to the mainland. Come on, quick.
All right.
I have a feeling we're being followed.
It's your imagination. Hurry, Geraldine. Hurry.
We are being followed, Doctor. Look behind us. There's a man with a dog.
Good heavens. It's just like the dog you owned. The one that died in the fire.
Yes. And the man... It's Dave.
We've lost them. Lost them in the woods.
They can't be far behind.
Doesn't matter now. The house is just ahead.
But the boat, Doctor. The boat's not at the landing.
It must be.
Well, it isn't. Can't you see it isn't?
Perhaps it's around and back.
No, that side of the house faces the road.
We'll have to break in and hide here until morning. Our best chance is to be inside, where we can protect ourselves. After all, you still have a gun.
But I hardly know how to use it.
Then give it to me.
No,
Still don't trust me, do you?
I don't know, Doctor. But I'm the one who's been threatened, so I really should have the gun.
Very well. Wait here. I'll break through the window and come around on the inside.
Did you hurt yourself?
No. I'm all right. Just wait there for me and I'll unlock the door.
Oh, hurry, Doctor, please. Hurry. They're on our trail again.
Come inside, Geraldine. Quickly. And lock the door behind you.
What's wrong, Doctor?
Nothing's wrong. We're in luck. There's a phone here. If it hasn't been disconnected. Hello. Hello, operator.
This isn't the operator. Tell Mrs. Reeves it's at 11 o'clock. She has 1 more hour to live.
Past 11.
I won't leave this house. I'm not going to run away any longer. If they're going to kill me, let them come here and do it. Only for heaven's sakes, why don't they do it right away? Why don't they come here and get it over with instead of waiting until 12 o'clock?
Geraldine, please.
Well, I can't stand it any longer. I'd rather die than go through any more of this torture. I just...
Sit down for a moment. Relax. And try to ease your mind.
Oh, Dr. Prizing, what are you doing?
Playing the piano. I thought it might relax you.
But that melody... You're the one I hear at night, playing David's music. Playing it right here in this house.
Yes, Geraldine. I've rented this house to protect you from David and the dog.
Well, stop it. Stop playing that piece. Stop it.
You didn't know that David would come back to life. Did you, Geraldine?
Now stay where you are. Stay...
Don't be afraid. I won't harm you. As long as you have that gun. But the gun won't stop David.
David's dead.
Is he? Listen. He's right outside the door. And in a moment, he'll be here to take you with him.
No. David!
Yes, Geraldine. I've come back to see you. In spite of everything you've done.
Stop!
You killed me, didn't you, darling? You started that fire because you knew I was too much of an invalid to get out of bed.
Stay where you are!
You hated me, Geraldine.
Stop!
Your bullets can't harm me now. Nothing you can do can harm me. Because I'm dead and you're still alive.
Oh, David. David, forgive me. I didn't know what I was doing that night. Please believe me. I was sorry as soon as I started that fire, but it was too late then. I couldn't put it out. I couldn't.
How dare you ask my forgiveness when you're still lying?
But I'm not lying. I'm not. I told you everything.
Why didn't you tell the police?
Because I wanted to live.
You'll confess everything now?
Yes, David, yes, I will. If you'll only leave me alone, please. It was my cigarette case Laura found in the water. I'd thrown it over the bridge that same night after I took it out of the fire.
Well, I guess that's all we need, Harvey. A full confession. With 2 witnesses.
Harvey!
Yes, Geraldine. I do look like my brother in this dim light. And the dog Laura's holding outside is the same breed as the one you own.
Laura! Laura! Did you say Laura was alive?
Very much so, Geraldine. Wasn't hard for me to pretend being dead. The doctor keeping you away from my body.
Then you were all in this together. You forced this confession out of me.
Yes, Geraldine. The blank cartridges Dr. Pricing slipped into that gun of yours really turned the trick. Oh, excuse me. Hello. Oh, hello, Inspector. Yes, it's all right now. You can hook the wires up again. She's told us the truth. And you'd better get to work on that bridge right away. It's still down.
What an outrage, all those opportunities for murder and not a drop of blood spilled all night long. Oh, well, some days you can't lay away a corpuscle. Now, a moment where Colgate voices bring you a message.
Use Colgate tooth powder. Keep smiling just right. Use it each morning and use it at night to help you rate with every date. Use Colgate tooth powder.
Tell me, do you really mean it when you say, I want to be alone? Or are you just pretending that you don't care about dates? Could it be that a little breath of trouble has cooled your romance? A little breath? What a pity to let unpleasing breath ruin your romance. Why not brush your teeth night and morning and before every date with Colgate tooth powder? Scientific tests prove that Colgate tooth powder, in 7 cases out of 10, instantly stops unpleasing breath that originates in the mouth. So use Colgate tooth powder for all it's worth. Enjoy its exciting cleansing results, too. No amount of money can buy you a dentifrice that will clean your teeth more quickly or effectively than Colgate tooth powder. Remember the name, Colgate tooth powder, with the accent on powder.
Don't take a chance with your romance. Use Colgate tooth powder.
Well, it's time for me to join the moonbeams now. But before I leave under a cloud, before I'm missed, I thought I might pass on the moral of tonight's story. If you must light a fire under your husband's bed, be careful where you drop the ashes. By the way, this month's Inner Sanctum Mystery novel is Puzzle for Puppets by Patrick Quentin. Well, now it's really time to close that there squeaking door until next week, when Colgate tooth powder brings you another Inner Sanctum Mystery. So until then, good night. Pleasant dreams.
Latest reports from doctors on the 14-day Palmolive plan.
Kansas City reports better complexions for 93%.
New Orleans reports better complexions for 97%.
In city after city, doctors tested the 14-day Palmolive plan on all types of skin, and 2 out of 3 of all women tested got better complexions in 14 days.
What is this 14-day Palmolive plan?
Wash your face 3 times a day with Palmolive soap. Then, each time, take 60 seconds more to massage Palmolive's lovely soft lather onto your skin as you would a cream. Then rinse. This cleansing massage with Palmolive's lather brings your skin its full beautifying effect.
See what Palmolive can do for your skin in 14 days. Remember, doctors prove Palmolive's beauty results.
Remember, another Inner Sanctum Mystery next Wednesday night. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
From 80 years ago, January 11th, 1944, Inner Sanctum Mysteries on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox will head out west for an episode of Have Gun Will Travel. That'll be coming up next here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Friends, this is Jemamichi. About 40,000 lives a year needlessly lost. The circumstances were traffic accidents, but, says the National Safety Council, the causes were human. Human failure to pay attention to the road and weather conditions, to slow down when needed, or even to care whether you arrive safely. Make safe driving your responsibility.
And tomorrow we will have Frank Sinatra as Rocky Fortune, Out of the Deep, The Story of Dr. Kildare, Broadway is My Beat, and Fibber McGee and Molly. That'll be coming up on our Friday edition of the podcast. And on Saturday, we will have comedies with Amos and Andy, The Great Gildersleeve, The Halls of Ivy, My Friend Irma, and, of course, we will have an episode of Lum and Abner. That'll be coming up on Saturday. Right now, though, let's get to this episode of Have Gun Will Travel, starring the great John Dehner from 65 years ago, January 11th, 1959, a story about the Englishman.
Your guide would cut your throat for $10, and even if he didn't, you'd be shot by bandits or scalped by Indians. My gun is your safe passage. You're going to need it.
Have Gun Will Travel. Starring Mr. John Dehner as Paladin. San Francisco, 1875. The Carlton Hotel, headquarters of the man called Paladin.
You know, hey boy, I'm bored this afternoon. Too much of the same thing.
Oh, you saw Mr. Paladin.
If only something different would happen.
I say, Porter. Oh, something different, Mr. Paladin. Which is the way to Fleetown, Montana?
Fleetown?
Yes.
Perhaps I might help. My name is Paladin.
Why, thank you, sir. I'm James Brunswick.
Hey, boy, bring Mr. Brunswick some brandy.
No, you're very kind, but I can't tarry. You see, my father, the 8th Earl of Aylesbury, invested money in this ranch in Montana, and now that my brother's dead, his share was left to me.
And you're going there to take possession?
Precisely, yes. My interest is half. The rest is owned by a 5th cousin, a Miss Felicia Carson. Yet I must make arrangements to get there quickly. A lone woman attempting to run a large ranch. Well, you understand.
Yes, of course. I imagine she'll be pleased to have a man's help.
Oh, quite. Yes. Well, I'll hop a train and I'll just pop in on her in a day or two.
3 weeks will be closer to the truth.
Oh?
The train will drop you about 200 miles from Fleetown. From there on, it's horseback over the mountains.
Oh. Well, then in that case, I might do a bit of hunting. I shall hire a guide.
And he'll cut your throat for your money.
Good gracious.
No, you couldn't do it alone. You'd get lost, shot by bandits, or scalped.
Well, it's rather awkward. What's the solution?
This.
Have Gun Will Travel. Oh, I say. The gun, is it necessary?
Not always. Sometimes it's mighty useful.
If dandruff dulls your hair, leaves your scalp itchy, please listen. You can get rid of annoying dandruff so fast today, no one should suffer any longer. With Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo, unsightly dandruff's gone in 3 minutes. It's the quickest, easiest of all leading shampoos. Besides that, using Fitch regularly is guaranteed to keep embarrassing dandruff away. Simply apply in the unique Fitch manner. Before you wet hair, rub in 1 minute. This way, Fitch shampoo penetrates right down to the scalp. Next, add water. Lather 1 minute to wash every trace of dandruff out of your hair. Then rinse 1 minute. All that loosened dandruff goes down the drain. In 3 minutes with Fitch, 1 rubbing, 1 lathering, 1 rinsing, dandruff's gone. And while removing dandruff, Fitch can also brighten hair up to 35%. To get rid of dandruff problems forever, brighten hair too, use Fitch regularly. Get Fitch Dandruff Remover Shampoo today, only 59 cents.
James Brunswick, 9th Earl of Aylesbury, endured the 3-week ride over the mountains with the help of an English saddle, a sun helmet, and 2 pack horses carrying his trunks and carpet bags. He marveled at the size, the coldness, the expanse, and the beauty of the land. There were some Indians lounging around the general store when we rode into Fleetown. They stared at him fascinated. He stared back, fascinated. We dismounted and walked up the steps.
This is Fleetown, mister. You looking for someone special?
Yes. Miss Felicia Carson. Perhaps you can direct us to the King's Arms Ranch, sir?
I'll be danged. Miss Carson?
What is it, boy?
Hardy?
Ma'am, I think your cousin from England just got here.
What? You James Brunswick?
Yes, that's right.
Oh. Well, I reckon you are my kinfolk.
Oh, my goodness, Cousin Felicia. Why, this is delightful.
Well, I reckon. I'm pleased to meet you.
I'm delighted. This is my friend, Mr. Paladin.
A pleasure, Miss Carson.
The same. This here's Waddy, my foreman.
Howdy.
You go see if them horses is shod yet, Waddy.
Yes, ma'am. Who is Crazy Clothes?
I beg your pardon.
Crazy Clothes.
Harry, you go on about your business. Quit standing around and staring. And take your braves with you. Go on now. Go on.
Crazy Clothes.
I say, Cousin Felicia, those are savages.
No, them's Harry Blackfoot, Little Horse, and a few of the boys from across the road is all.
James was disappointed that we didn't see any Indians on the trail.
Ah, good thing, too. The only braves you'd run into up there'd be a war party taking scalps. Oh, Harry and them lot more peaceable. They ain't smeared war paint in years.
War paint? Taking scalps? Why, Joe, it's all true, then, just as I've read.
Makes good reading, but it's nothing you'd care to see.
No, I expect not.
Well. So this is your cousin all the way from England, huh?
Now, look, NG, let's not have any...
Wait a minute. You the one who shot that poor little bear cub on that pack horse?
I shot him, sir, but he's scarcely a cub.
Listen to him, boy. Why, mister, you just ain't acquainted with the Montana breed of bear. Full grown, they're as big as this house.
Really? Well, I never heard of any animal that large.
I've only been in on the kill of one full-size Montana bear myself. I was with the Army. Took a 10-pound shot to bring him down.
How extraordinary.
And you know what we found when we peeled the hide off him?
No, what?
Why, bear skin, you blame fool.
Well, I must say the joke is on me, what?
Yeah, it sure is. What a dude. Come on, let's get up.
You tripped me.
How's the water in the horse trough?
I guess it's a horse on you,
You think that's funny, do you?
You must admit a man swimming in a horse trough looks pretty foolish.
Not as foolish as you will with your jaw busted.
Seems like NG finally bit on one himself and he don't like the sour taste.
You're kind of handy with your practical jokes, mister.
Next time it might be better to let a man become acquainted with the local customs before you try to make a fool of him.
In the 1800s, the Monroe Doctrine dictated that Americans put a wall between themselves and the world. Today, however, times have changed. From city dweller to farmer, Americans know they are part of the world and close to it, and the more they can find out about it, the better. That's why the broadcasts of Edward R. Murrow and Lowell Thomas are so popular. Each of these internationally known newsmen has a wide background in the history, the politics, the economics on which current events are built. Whether you're interested in high-level affairs of state abroad, economic developments here at home, or the latest advances of science, you'll find them presented clearly and understandably by Murrow and Thomas, with the touch of wit or human interest that has won them listeners everywhere in the world. If you're not already addicted to the news, as CBS Radio presents it nightly, start this week to follow the broadcasts of Edward R. Murrow and Lowell Thomas. They're both heard Monday through Friday on most of these same CBS stations.
James Brunswick, 9th Earl of Aylesbury, changed to knickers once we got to the ranch. After tea and a pipe, he picked up his riding crop and announced it was time to look things over. Felicia Carson reckoned it was time. I tagged along. We made a circuit of the main ranch buildings and ended up sometime around dusk back at the corrals.
Well, that's the works, Jamie. These buildings, 6,000 head of cattle and 12,000 acres of land.
It's immense, absolutely immense. And you've been looking after all this alone. You know, you're an amazing woman, Felicia.
Had to be done.
Well, now that I'm here, I intend to take this burden off your shoulders. You just sit back and be the lady of the manor, huh?
Well, thanks, Jamie, but for a while you just sort of take it easy and don't strain yourself none. I'm going up to the house. Supper's in a half an hour.
Right. Well, I'm afraid that she doesn't take me very seriously, Paladin.
That'll change. Right now, you're sort of unusual to her.
To everyone. You know, I've been thinking about N.G. and his little joke this morning. I was being tested, wasn't I?
Yeah. And they think that a man who can be tricked is a fool. See, around here they figure there are two kinds of no good people, cowards and fools. In a rough situation, the coward will run out on you, and the fool might make a fatal mistake.
And I showed myself up to be a fool.
No. But you showed you've got a lot to learn. Let's say you've lost face. You don't quite fit in yet.
Well, how does one go about fitting in, Paladin?
Well, here. This is your saddle. English, made for riding. Nothing else, right?
Well, what else is there?
Well, look at the saddle of mine. A Western saddle.
But yeah, it's a cumbersome, heavy sort of thing.
Maybe, but there's a reason for everything. See the horn here? A tie post when roping cattle, and elbow rest for a man in the saddle all day.
I see.
And the height and the slope of the cattle here. See that? I figure to give a man the most comfort and the best brace through a day's work. The rigging, the cinch, the stirrup leathers are all designed to contribute something useful. There isn't a piece of leather on this saddle that isn't needed.
Well, I must confess, I thought it was an unwieldy piece of business.
No, nothing on the frontier is without a definite purpose. No individual is without a definite purpose either. Survival's too difficult. Everything and everyone must contribute something, and you'll just have to find the thing that you have to contribute.
I say, Paladin, look.
Yeah, I saw them.
Yeah, but they're attacking us.
They shouldn't be hostile here. They're showing themselves too openly. Oh, no. You see they're firing in the air. Hey, they put down that rifle.
Why did you knock the rifle?
Shut up, you hit him. Come on.
Well, it looks like... Well, that's the one, Harry Blackfoot.
All right, now, hold still, Harry. Let me see.
Why, crazy...
Now, you just take it easy now.
Of all the fool tricks, screaming like a bunch of medicine show squaws. It serves you right, Harry.
Hey, can I help?
NG say it was a joke. Everybody have fun. NG say...
High in the chest. It's a bad one.
You do this, Englishman?
I'm sorry. I didn't know it was a joke.
Take him to the house.
No, we take care of our chief.
I can't tell you how sorry I am.
Why couldn't you wait and find out what it was about before you... Oh, never mind. We'll go into town in the morning. Maybe they'll listen to reason. We ain't had no Indian trouble here in years until you come along, you dang fool.
She put that kind of strong.
What was that you said about a fool? A fool that makes fatal mistakes?
Toward greater victories, the March of Dimes is again asking your help to wipe out the deadly cripplers of thousands of children and adults. Not only polio, but arthritis and birth defects. Did you know that 1 out of every 7 persons in the United States will suffer from arthritis, an exceedingly painful disease for which no cure has yet been found, and that it menaces our youngsters as well as older people? And did you know that 1 out of every 16 babies born this year will have a birth defect? You have helped the March of Dimes fight polio and emerge the winner in the battle. And now your 1959 contribution to the March of Dimes can help win the battle with these other awful cripplers. We did it before, and with your help, we can do it again. Send your gift of money to your local March of Dimes headquarters. Send it tonight.
There was tension in Fleetown after Harry Blackfoot was shot. No one knew what the Indians might do about it. They had him holed up in an old barn, feeding him whiskey and working on his wounds. At least that was the news we got.
When are you figuring to leave, Paladin?
Tomorrow.
Take him back with you. For his own good. How long do you think he'd last out here before somebody blows his head off?
He could learn, if you'd help him.
I'm running a ranch, not a school. Oh, it isn't as if I don't like Jamie.
Well, then, don't send him away. This ranch would give him a purpose in life. You need him.
To shoot Indians?
Would it be better if he'd run away and hid?
Well, he should have used his head before he used that rifle.
He reacted the way any man would. He was attacked, picked up the rifle, and defended himself.
Good morning. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting.
Morning.
Now, when we get to town, Jamie, you let me do the talking. The Indians have probably cooled down by now.
If Harry Blackfoot is all right.
NG started this, and it's up to him to stop it. Now, James, I just want you to show up and stand there, like you got nothing to be ashamed of.
Yes, of course.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Paladin, I'd appreciate it if you would stay here until we clear up this matter, and then I'd like to return to San Francisco with you.
If that's what you want.
Well, I believe it would be best for everyone. Oh, there he is, propped up against the log under the tree.
Harry Blackfoot seems to be recovering very well.
He's drunk. They're all drunk. Look at that barrel of whiskey. Bet they got it from NG.
We better get NG before we try talking to Harry. Now, you can't stay out here alone, James. Come with us.
Well, I'd like to apologize to that fellow.
No, not right now.
There you are, you blasted troublemaker. You got the engines all stewed up, the blame fool way
Don't you try to squirm out of this, putting all the blame on Jamie.
Well, I didn't have anything.
NG, you're going out with us now and tell Harry Blackfoot exactly why all this is your fault.
My fault?
I don't have to explain that to you, NG.
Them engines is in no mood to listen to reason now. They'd kill me.
If you don't go out there, I'll kill you.
Send out Crazy Clothes.
Where's my rifle?
You kill any one of them and word'll spread to every Indian in the section. And every one of them will be wearing paint in 24 hours.
You get out there and tell them to stop it.
I can't stop them. They want the Englishman.
He's right.
Where do you think you're going?
Out there. There's little choice, is there?
You can't go out there, Jamie.
Well, I can't endanger your life or be the cause of an uprising.
Stop him.
If he can get across the street, maybe he can get to Harry.
Paladin, why didn't you stop him?
Sometimes a man has things to prove to himself.
It's a rundown. They're going to swipe him down and trample him.
Oh, no. He's getting up. Here comes another one.
No man can take that kind of punishment.
Oh, no. He's getting up again.
He's trying to get to Harry Blackfoot. I'm going out there. Wait here.
They'll kill you too, Paladin, if you interfere.
Harry. Call him off, Harry.
No. Braves teach lessons.
We could have shot your braves by now, but that would have made a war. He's had his lesson. He's been hurt enough.
Crazy clothes on his feet.
Listen to me, Harry. Only a few may wear clothes like that. It is a proud uniform from a far-off land. Only brave and honorable men wear that uniform. The clothes are the sign of a great and wise leader, a man of strength, a man like yourself. You see how he behaves?
Enough!
I feel I owe you an apology, old man. I'm really dreadfully sorry, you know. Inexcusable.
You're right. He brave man.
Feeling better, Jamie?
Oh, much, thank you, yes. Fortunate the store carried my size in stock. How do you like me? Do I look like a rancher? Paladin?
I guess you do at that. Well, come on in, Harry.
Where'd he get your clothes?
He requested them.
Only brave and honorable men wear this uniform. Great and wise leaders?
That's right, Harry.
Me and that one, Englishman. No one else?
No one else.
Good.
Well, he seems quite happy. Well, now, Paladin, shall we return to the ranch and pack?
Oh, you're not going to run out and leave me now, Jamie. You can't do that to me. I'm just a mere little old woman. That ranch needs a man.
Oh, thank you for the offer, Felicia, but really, I'm afraid there's so little that I have to contribute out here.
Except courage.
Oh, come now, Paladin. I mean, one doesn't talk about that sort of thing.
Mr. Paladin, you're traveling back to San Francisco alone.
Well, if you insist, I stay.
One favor before I leave, James.
Oh, yes, of course.
I'd like the address of your tailor in London. If I sent him my measurements, perhaps he could make me a brave and honorable chief.
Oh, you buck me, Sir Paladin. But where is man from the bowler hat?
He's ranching in Montana.
Oh, him? Montana?
Oh, he changed clothes.
Well, but...
Excuse me, please. Can either of you tell me the way to Henrysville, Oregon?
Oh, sure. Best is to go to a street at the end of town there.
Oregon and Henrysville are a long ways off.
Oh.
And difficult to get to.
Oh, but you see, I really must get to Henrysville. A cousin of mine, a rancher, died. And it's my duty to take over the management of the ranch.
Oh, boy.
And you've just arrived from England and you're in a hurry.
Well, yes, that's quite correct, as a matter of fact.
My name is Paladin. May I offer you my service?
Would you have garden, will travel? What kind of service?
Sit down, please. Hey, boy. A glass of sherry for Miss...
Worthshire. Lady Angela Worthshire.
For Lady Angela. And hurry.
Oh, Esau, get sherry right away. Oh, Lady Angela. Oh, boy. Tally ho, Mr. Paladin.
Now, Lady Angela, I think I should tell you...
Must you hold my hand?
It's an American custom. You must accustom yourself to American customs.
Oh. Well, now this service you spoke of.
It begins tonight, at 8 o'clock. A dinner at Fabre's, then a glass of sparkling wine at the Porter, and then a tour of San Francisco. You must see the points of interest before you leave.
I feel I'm already indulging myself in something interesting.
Lady Angela, I know I can assist you.
You know something, Mr. Paladin? I'm quite certain you can.
Have gun. Will travel. Created by Herb Meadow and Sam Rolfe, is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and stars John Dehner as Paladin with Ben Wright as Hayboy. Tonight's story was written by Sam Rolfe and adapted for radio by John Dawson. Featured in the cast were Virginia Christine, Ralph Moody, Gene Bates, Barney Phillips, James Nusser, and Harry Bartell. Hugh Douglas speaking. Have Gun Will Travel salutes station KRMG Tulsa, Oklahoma, which became CBS Radio's newest affiliate on Monday, January 5th. KRMG covers 93 counties and reaches about 1 million families in the Southwest and operates on 50,000 watts daytime and 25,000 nighttime. Join us again next week for Have Gun Will Travel.
From 65 years ago, January 11th, 1959, John Dehner, Have Gun Will Travel, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Coming up next, The Adventures of Jungle Jim.
Americans have always been noted for their know-how. And you young men in search of a career, you can put this practical talent to excellent use in one of our nation's many engineering schools. At the present time, we need engineers. We need them to maintain our scientific and engineering superiority. So look to your future, to America's future. Plan now to become an engineer.
The Adventures of Jungle Jim was kind of a 15-minute long produced promo for the weekly Sunday comics. It aired once a week on many stations, running for a number of years. This particular episode from the weekend of January 11th, 1936, 88 years ago, this episode is entitled The Batwoman.
Presenting the adventures of Jungle Jim. Last week, Jungle Jim, Lynn Chalmers, and Kolu were delayed in their search for the missing missionary when two wild animals met on the trail in a fierce death fight. At the plantation house, Shanghai Lil gloated over her enemy, the Reverend Chalmers. But even in the face of torture, the missionary bravely attempted to make the vampire Batwoman repent. He failed and was put in a dungeon cell to await his fate. In the meantime, Shanghai Lil learned that Jungle Jim, Lynn, and Kolu were advancing on her plantation hideout. These thrilling adventures of Jungle Jim are pictured each Sunday in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure. The Comic Weekly, each page printed in full colors, is distributed everywhere as an integral part of your Hearst Sunday newspaper. Now we continue the story. Shanghai Lil is speaking.
Those drums, Labar, are sending orders to my sentries along the trail. If any of them catch sight of Jungle Jim and his companions, they've been told what to do.
By God, I bet they have. You know, fool boss. Got for to hand it to you. You think of everything.
Yes, I try to. And so far I've been able to figure everything out pretty well.
Boss, ever since I learned you kill a man, my ears itch for to know some more about that. Tell Jacques Lapin about that.
I don't want to talk about it.
Why not, boss? I tell you about a couple of fellas I put out the way.
There's a great difference in the reasons why you killed your man and why I killed mine, Labar. I'm not going to talk about it, do you hear?
I hear, boss. But maybe someday you'll tell Jacques Lapin, eh?
Maybe. But I want you to get this straight. It wasn't for the reason our gospel-spouting guest thinks it was.
I believe you, boss. You all time got good reason for everything. I wonder for a long time why you hate that Padre. When he get here, by God, I see why. I don't blame you, boss.
That judge and jury wouldn't have either if they'd known that... There, I almost got spilling my face off after I said I wouldn't talk about it. You keep yours shut, Labar, and don't try to get me started again, do you hear?
Okay, boss. Labar do like you say.
How's the Reverend getting along in the guest house?
Too good, boss. We only give him food once a day. But he don't say nothing.
He doesn't?
No cry out, no beg for anything, no say nothing. By God, no fun for try to make him squeal. He like one dead fish.
He is he? Trying to beat us by playing the stoical martyr, is he?
Oui, boss.
Well, I'll fix him. I'll make him yell so loud you'll hear him all over the plantation.
What you going for do, boss? Stop giving him food?
Ah, that's too easy, Labar.
Too easy? Saint Jean-Baptiste. Jacques Laban no like for go without food very long.
I'll remember that the next time I have to punish you.
Oh, no, boss. Please don't take away my food.
It makes you cringe at the very thought of it, doesn't it? You've heard of Achilles, haven't you?
No, boss. He never down here in these jungle while I been here.
You're quite right about that, Labar. Achilles is said to have lived centuries ago in the old Greek times. His mother was told no man would be able to kill him if she dipped him in the river Styx.
That true, boss? By God, I like for to go there myself.
Well, Achilles was dipped in the Styx like his mother was told, and he was invulnerable, except for one heel.
Why was that, boss?
His mother had to hang on to him somehow, didn't she? And one day a fella shot an arrow into that one weak spot and licked him.
And ever since, they say every man has one weak spot where you can hurt him.
By God, the Padre's weak spot is his daughter, eh, boss?
That's right. And yours is your stomach.
How you know that, boss?
That's my business, lover, finding the weak spot of everybody.
Everybody? Enemies, sure thing, but why friends?
Because you never can tell when your friends may become your enemies.
I never think of that before. That's plenty true, boss. Both those fella I have get rid of. They once my best friend.
Well, what's your step with me, Labar? I know you like a book.
Lapa loyal to you, boss.
See that you are. Now, go get the Reverend out of the dungeon. Take him to that hilltop over there, the one that rises up among the foliage. You know the one I mean?
May we, boss. I know. It's flat like tabletop.
That's it. Well, take our praying parson out there.
Then what I do?
Spread eagle him.
Pushing steadily along the trail, Jungle Jim, Lynn Chalmers, and Kolu bend all their efforts to catching up with the missing missionary.
How you making out, Lynn?
All right, Jim. How much farther do you suppose we'll have to go?
Oh, I must be truthful, Lynn. There's no use trying to tell you it'll only be a little ways now. You know as much as Kolo and I do about it.
Oh, dear. Why did those animals pick the trail to fight on? We wasted an awful lot of time back there.
Well, if we hadn't waited, Lynn, we might have lost something far more precious. The life of one of us.
You're probably right, Jim. But Dad's in danger of his life. We must get to him as quickly as possible.
I know how you feel, Lynn. Believe me, I do. Well, your father is my best friend down here in the jungle. My only white friend outside of yourself. Don't you think I'm anxious about his safety, too? Why do you suppose I broke camp and came up here?
I'm sorry, Jim. Of course you're as anxious as I am. It only seems to take forever to catch up to him.
Well, we're going as fast as we can follow the broken trail made by Mamba as he led your father through this jungle here.
Where do you suppose he's taken him? To some other village?
I don't know. Kolu?
Yes, this one, Jim.
Where does this direction we're going lead us? To what village?
We no go to village, Juan. We head into heart of jungle.
Oh, then Dad's in even greater danger than I thought. If there isn't a village, that means he's being taken to some camp of roaming cannibals.
Well, let's hope not, Lynn.
Well, didn't you say this is the land of Noro men?
Yes, that's true. But Kolo and I ran into a band of headhunters the other side of Burawani. We think they may all be away on a hunting expedition.
You're just saying that to quiet me, Jim. You know perfectly well that Dad's in a tight spot. And so are we.
Well, there's no harm in hoping the headhunters aren't home, is there?
No, of course not. Nobody is hoping that any more than I am. But there's one thing that struck me as peculiar.
Well, what's that, Lynn?
We haven't seen a single sign that proves Dad was brought this way.
Oh, yes, we have. This irregular trail we're following is proof.
How so?
Well, it's off the beaten path. Mamba must have broken it for himself as some kind of a shortcut to where he's taking your father.
Perhaps. But we haven't seen any tangible proof.
Well, you mean your father hasn't left any signs for us to follow?
Yes. So far, it looks as though he either went along pretty peaceably or else he didn't go this way at all.
Well, that's easy to explain, Lynn. Your father might have been bound and forced to march ahead of Mamba.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Or he might have been unconscious and carried this way.
Oh.
On Jim.
What is it, Kolo?
Look. Bush all flat here. Ground all tore up.
What did I tell you, Lynn? Here's where your father either regained consciousness or started to put up a battle.
Jim! Oh, Jim, there's blood on the ground.
No. Don't worry, Lynn. It may be Mamba's.
Me find something, Tuan.
Why, it's Dad's pocket-sized Old Testament.
Well, I guess this is proof enough that we're on the right trail. Come on, let's go.
Back at the plantation, Jacques Labat proceeds to carry out Shanghai Lil's orders.
Get along, Padre.
Where are you taking me?
You'll see plenty soon. We go up these hills. Remember?
Yes, Tuan Labat.
Bring that axe and those pegs. I carry the rope.
What are you going to do with me, Labat?
Just you wait, Padre. It no be long now. You find out.
Didn't I hear drums a while ago? What are they for?
Walyo, Coco, you come with me.
Well, I see you've been given orders to keep still.
We, Padre. Labat to keep still. You to do the talking.
What do you mean?
You see.
I say, what are we doing up here? The sun is blazing hot on this hilltop.
Remember, Drive peg. Here.
Yes, it's one of us.
Are you going to burn me at the stake, Lamar? Is that to be Shanghai Lil's idea of my fate?
You see. Yeah, remember? Now drive another peg here.
Yes, it's one.
2 stakes. Am I going to have company, Lamar?
Go on, Padre. Joke while you can. You won't feel like it plenty soon. Remember, another peg over here.
Yes, it's one of us.
Oh, I see. Then you're going to drive another one over there. 4 stakes in a perfect square. Now I know what you're up to.
The Padre is right, Mamba. Put another peg here.
Yes, it's one.
Well, very well carried out so far.
And it will be carried out just like the boss woman say. You hear? Now, you lie down that square, Padre.
So you think you're going to spread eagle me, do you?
I know it, Padre. Lie down there.
Never of my own free will.
Okay, Padre, you asked for this.
Oh!
Yeah. Now, spread out those legs so Mamba Goku can tie them those pegs.
Never.
All right, boys. Tie him up. That's it. That's it. Now, untie his arms and spread them to the other peg. There, how you like that, Padre? Now you can look up to the heaven all day.
You feel.
Maybe you'll get plenty hot in the sun, Padre. I better open up your shirt for you.
This for my throat.
That's good. Now, by God, maybe you sorry you sent boss woman to jail, eh? You going for to lie there till the sun fry you to a crisp.
You'll be punished for this, Lamar. You and that woman you call boss.
Not by you we won't be punished, Padre. Not by you nor any of your friends. They never know what happened to you. Nobody can recognize skeleton lying in the sun.
Good work, Lamar. You've made a neat job of it.
I think little suntan do his white skin good, boss, so I pulled down the Padre's shirt.
Well, my dear Reverend Chalmers, you didn't think when you were so smug in your turnaround collar and black suit and told the judge I was incorrigible and I don't know what else, that I'd have my revenge when I got out of that prison, did you?
I only did my duty to society, as you did yours by serving your time.
Oh.
No man or woman can be a law unto himself or herself.
That's what they preach back in civilization, from pulpits and judges' benches.
Well, it's true.
Bring some of those smug and sanctimonious babbies down here, and they'll find out they're wrong.
Will they?
Yes, just like you're finding out now. I can be a law unto myself, Reverend, and I'm doing all right at it.
So you think, Lily DeVril. And so all malefactors will think, until that final day when they all appear before the great judge.
Well, you're going to find that out before I will, Reverend. You're going to have plenty of time to meditate, lying here on your back, staring up at the sun. And while you're meditating, remember this. I'm not through with you yet.
As Jim, Lynn, and Kolo press on through the bush, their efforts spurred on by the knowledge that they ought to soon catch up to the captured missionary, they approach the boundary of the Batwoman's domain. One of her sentries, perched in a tree, sees the trio. He lines the sights of his rifle and squeezes the trigger. Jim's helmet is torn from his head, but his right hand comes up with a flaming gun. The sniper's rifle drops from his nerveless fingers, and he pitches backward to the ground.
Good. You shoot him, son, Jim.
Boy, that was a close call.
Oh, Jim, are you hurt?
No, his bullet went clean through my helmet. Never touched me at all. Well, it looks like we're getting someplace now, all right. Somebody's got guards stationed out here.
Drums.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That means our shots have been heard, Lynn. And those throbbing tom-toms are telegraphing our arrival.
What will happen when the news of Jungle Jim's arrival is telegraphed by the jungle drums? Can Jungle Jim safely bring Lynn and Kolo through the guards around the plantation and effect the rescue of Lynn's father? Be sure and be with us again next week at the same time for the continuation of the thrilling and mysterious adventures which are pictured each week in the Comic Weekly, distributed everywhere with your Hearst Sunday newspaper. Many of the greatest characters of the picture world will also entertain you. The Little King, Katzenjammer Kids, Toots and Casper, Barney Google, and many other famous inhabitants of the world of colored pictures. And the next group of colored poster stamps to add to your present collection. Don't forget our date next week at the same time for the continuation of the adventures of Jungle Jim.
From 88 years ago, January 11th, 1936, The Adventures of Jungle Jim, right here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Tomorrow, more crime with Frank Sinatra's Rocky Fortune, Out of the Deep, The Story of Dr. Kildare, Broadway is My Beat, and Fibber McGee and Molly. And we'll see you next time, right here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.